It's just emotions that's taking me over. Tied up in sorrow, lost in my soul. And if you don't come back. Remember that song? Emotions. Emotions taking you over. Good day, everybody. Hello, I'm here today to talk a little bit about emotions. We're on this series, this love limit series that I've been talking about, and I want to talk to you about the love limits that we have in our emotions. Right? You might be asking yourself, what are love limits? Love limits are the limits that you put on yourself because of how you see yourself or your abilities. So, question for you. Sorry, I got. I feel like there's something on my teeth. If I have something on my teeth, y'all, just let me know. So, have you ever felt overwhelmed by your emotions, um, and you react in ways that don't really align with who you truly are? Or have you ever wished that you could better understand and regulate your emotions in difficult situations? Yeah. What about feeling like you want a deeper connection with yourself and have a greater sense of like inner peace and fulfillment? Yeah. If you answer yes to any of these questions, keep listening because you're not alone. I got something for you. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Theresa Noye, your radical self-love coach, and women work with me who historically have put everyone else first to now recognize it's their time to put themselves first without the guilt. And we're continuing on our love limits talks. And today's love limit is your emotions. Emotions are a beautiful gift. You know, they're actually our superpower. And you can leverage your emotions to make them work for you and not against you. You may not even be aware of this. You may not even realize this, but your emotions might be affecting your life in ways that you're not even aware of. And you know what that's called? Emotional reactivity. Emotional reactivity. And that's when your emotions feel like you're in control of you instead of the other way around. Anybody can relate to that? So I had a client who could go from 0 to 10. And her favorite saying was, I can't with you, I can't with him, I can't with her, I can't with, you know? When your emotions are in the driver's seat like that, it can make you feel like you're on this roller coaster, and it can affect your relationships. It affects your work. It affects your overall well-being. And the thing is, with emotional reactivity, it's something that many of us struggle with, but we don't always talk about it. Like you might feel like you're alone in your emotions, or that you're not supposed to feel this way. But let me give you some scenarios. Tell me if this is you. Okay. Let's say you're running late for an important meeting, and you're in the car and someone cut you off in traffic. And you might react with like extreme anger, frustration, honking, cursing them out, yelling at the other people. And and then you feel even more stressed and even more anxious, right? And it could affect your performance. It could impact your performance at the meeting, right? Ever been there? What about this one? What about if you receive an email from a colleague or coworker or someone, a boss, and if you're prone to emotional reactivity, you might immediately react by firing off an angry response, and it can create some tension. It can create some conflict in the workplace. It could even damage your professional reputation. I had a client who worked with someone like this, and their supervisor well, there wasn't really a supervisor. They were more colleagues, but they worked on projects together. They would fire off at their direct reports. And guess what? Nobody wanted to work with this person, but nobody was calling this person out on their ish. I have a problem with that, right? But that happens, right? I know you've seen that. I know we've experienced that. What about relationships? Say you're in a disagreement with your partner and they say something that triggers an emotional response. And if you're prone to emotional reactivity, guess what happens? You might react in defensiveness or in anger. Um, and it escalates and it makes it even harder to resolve. You guys are always at these impasses. You might even blame the other person for your triggers, right? Anyone relate? I'll give you one more scenario. What about if you are feeling overwhelmed by your workload, by your responsibilities, and you start to focus this light, right? This selfie, this ring light is so bright in my eyes. Um, you start to feel overwhelmed by your workload, by your responsibilities. You start to doubt your abilities. You start to doubt your worth. And if you're prone to emotional reactivity, what happens? You could spiral into this negative self talk, self doubt, which can make it even harder to manage the workload and the responsibilities. It takes a lot of energy. And you might have difficulty recognizing or even acknowledging your emotions, which can make it even harder to manage them. You can't manage what you don't know, right? And many of us, especially my sisters, right, we're expected to be strong and resilient. And these are important qualities. It's one of the beautiful things about who we are as women. But it can also lead to suppression, emotional suppression, and internalizing all of these negative emotions. And what happens? I was just talking to someone today. You stuff it and stuff it and stuff it and stuff it, and then they push the wrong button, and that whole buildup of emotions just comes out in certain situations, right? So this is why it's important to recognize that this has happened, but also understand that it's a normal response to difficult and challenging situations. So we cannot be ashamed of our emotions. We got to own our emotions. Here's where radical self-love comes in. When you have radical self-love practices, you can manage your emotional reactivity and create space for healing and for resilience. So, how can you practice radical self-love when you're experiencing emotional reactivity? How can you do that? I'm going to give you 4 tips, okay? The first one, be kind to yourself. Please say it with me. Be kind to yourself. Say it again. Be kind to yourself. Be kind. When you're feeling emotional, it's so easy to beat yourself up. So easy to beat yourself up or to criticize yourself. But what if you started talking to yourself the way you would talk to a friend, a really, really good friend? What if you started talking to yourself with kindness, with empathy, with understanding? What if you did that? Be kind. We got to learn how to be kind to ourselves. We're so mean. I told you before, one of my clients, when she had this awareness, she said, I'm so mean to myself. We're so mean to ourselves. Be kind. Okay. The second thing you can do is take a break, yo. You could take a break. One of my clients, she gets so caught up, she gets so hyper focused on what she's doing that she doesn't take any breaks. Take a break, boo. And initially, it's something, that you might have to. I have my phone. I put a timer on my phone to remind myself to take breaks, so that it doesn't get to this place where I'm feeling overwhelmed by my emotions. It's okay to step back. It's okay to take a break, go for a walk, breathe, breathe. That's what my timer is on, to remind me to breathe every hour or so, right? To take deep breathing or just do something that makes you happy. I put on Lizzo special. That's my song. I put that song on and I dance to it. I sing it. We have a little special circle. Me and some of my colleagues, they come in my office and they dance with me and we play the song. Do things that make you happy, because guess what that does? That calms you down and helps you to get some perspective. Okay. 3, what are your triggers? Know your triggers. Be proactive, right? In knowing your triggers, knowing what triggers your emotional reactivity. That can help you to prepare in advance for those situations in the future. And you might be able to even avoid it altogether. So, knowing yourself. Yeah, you got to take ownership. You got to take responsibility for yourself. That client that I was telling you about that was always like, I can't with her, I can't with him, I can't. So, okay, we had to work together to identify what are your triggers? Where can you take ownership? It's important, so important. And the last thing is, can you get some support? It's okay to ask for help. You ain't got to be this strong, resilient woman. You can ask for help when you need it. I went for so many years being strong, handling it, doing all of the things for everybody. And when I got to the place, I had to fall apart before I realized that I needed to start asking for help. My hair started falling out. Um, I developed a food addiction, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. But when I started asking for help, especially with my husband, when I started asking my husband and communicating what my emotional needs were, guess what happened? He said, I didn't know. Sometimes we expect people to know what our needs are. They don't know. It's your responsibility to tell them. So you need to ask for help. You have to ask for support. And you'll be so surprised how people will respond. So reach out. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Ask for help. Ask for help, okay? And when you can do these things consistently, and it's a practice, right? It's a practice. When you can learn to recognize your emotions, learn to recognize your emotions and validate them instead of suppressing them. This leads to a greater sense of awareness and emotional intelligence that can turn you into leading a healthier, more fulfilling life, more fulfilling relationships, more fulfilling experiences. You got the power, sis. You have the power to change this and to create a loving, fulfilling relationship with yourself. And this relationship with yourself is the most important relationship that you could ever have. So invest in you. Listen, all of this flying from one thing to the next and doing this, and please stop. Please stop. Take the time to invest in you. And you got to do that, boo. Nobody is going to do it for you. You have to do it. Do it for you. You're much too valuable. All right? Don't limit yourself. You don't have to limit yourself with your emotions. You can make them work for you and not against you. All right? All right, lovelies. Hey, Gina, my sister Gina. Good to see you. All right, so this is what I'm inviting you to do. I'm inviting you. Hey, Rita. Hey, Rita. Hey, sis. You are welcome. You are welcome. So I'm having a workshop. We did the How to Fall in Love with Yourself workshop. And it was amazing. Rita was there. Hey, Rita. It was amazing. And I'm doing it again. Would you like to come? Yes, yes, or yes. You want to be in the place. You want to be one of the first people to know when it's happening. Put a yes in the chat. Just put yes in the chat, and I'll make sure that you're one of the first people to know when we open up. Okay. And put your takeaways. I love to hear what your takeaways are. When I be dropping all this goodness, say, hey, Theresa, oh my gosh, this is what I got out of this. This is what you challenged me to do. This is what I understand now. Tell me what you got out of it. Okay? All right, guys. Have a great Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow.